This first photo shows a classroom circa 1890. This makes this photo approximately 130 years old. We can see that students are sitting in rows of desks. Some of them have books open. Teachers giving instruction at the front. In those 130 years, these are the changes that we see in the classroom today. Students are sitting in rows of desks. Their books are open. They are looking towards the teacher who is giving them instruction. We've seen this kind of demonstration before, talking about how school has not changed. The Saber-tooth curriculum reaches beyond that and talks about how not only has the method of instruction not changed, but also what we are teaching has not really changed with the times. The Saber-tooth curriculum is written by Harold Benjamin, and it illustrates a conversation held with Dr. J. Abner Pettewell, who is a professor at a fictional university where he teaches the history of education in the Paleolithic era, or the Stone Age. Now, there were not a lot of pictures of Stone Age classrooms, but I imagine most of them probably looked something like this. This comedic look at the education system is put forth as history, and while we know, or are at least pretty certain, that this is not an exact account of what the education system was like 10,000 years ago, it applies to us today as much as it did when it was written in 1939. That statement also strikes me as scary, but I'll circle back to that. Having said that, any book that combines becoming a better teacher and tequila is okay with me. So first, let's discuss what the Saber-tooth curriculum was. It starts with the time before there was an education system. Thinking was thought to be a bothersome thing, and not something any respectable person would do. Until Newfist, who was widely recognized for his achievements in creating a superior fist hammer, a blunt tool that was used by his tribe, as well as skills in club crafting and firemaking. Wanting to make a better life for himself, his children, and his tribe, he decided to teach his children the skills they would need. He determined that there were 3 core subjects that would help them. Oh, no, wait, that's not the ones used in the Paleolithic school system? There we are. After a while, it caught on, and all the children were taught these 3 subjects: catching fish with their bare hands, clubbing the woolly horses, and scaring the saber-toothed tigers with fire. Soon, the whole tribe prospered. However, times changed. A glacier moved closer to the tribe and began to melt, bringing dirt and mud to cloud up the water so that you could not see the fish. The fish were also getting to be fast and intelligent, since the slow and dumb ones were caught quickly by the bare-handed fishermen. With the cloudy water, no one could catch fish this way anymore. The extra water from the glacier made the land marshy, and the woolly horses left drier areas. Instead, they were left with small, quick gazelle who would not let you get near them. The best horse clubbing techniques would not let them get close. And finally, the new wetlands led to a rise in a strain of pneumonia that killed most of the saber-toothed tigers. And those that survived were so poor off they may as well be dead. There were no tigers left to be found in the area, and so a new predator moved in, a species of bear. This species of bear was not scared of fire, and so the best tiger scaring with fire techniques were now useless. Still, the 3 core curriculum were taught because, well, that's education. With all the struggles, the tribe may have died off, but with the new education system, thinking was no longer considered trouble, and 3 great thinkers came up with a solution. One man created nets out of vines used to catch many fish. Another set snares that would catch the gazelles unaware. And a third learned to dig pit traps that would capture the bears, keeping them safe, also giving them bear meat and furs to add to their security. Of course, they thought it would be great to teach in the school, but were met with unexpected opposition. From the book, why can't they be taught in school? Well, that wouldn't be education. But why wouldn't it be? Because it would be mere training. With all the intricate details of fish grabbing, horse clubbing, and tiger scaring, the standard cultural subjects of the curriculum is too crowded now, and we can't add these fats and frittles of net making, antelope snaring, and of all things, bear killing. Now we, as outsiders, see how useless that curriculum is. To them, that is education. However, many could see that they needed reform. Those who want to see reform are often referred to as progressives. In the Paleolithic era, according to Dr. Pettewell, there were two major schools of progressives, the real fish school and the real tiger school. The real fish, as the name suggests, taught students to catch fish with their bare hands. Fish were obtained from a fisherman, stunned by a quick conk on the head, then set in pools where students could catch them. This was definitely a better way to teach fish catching with the bare hands. The real tiger school, in response to this, managed to get their hands on two real saber-toothed tigers. Old, toothless, and in general tired. But they were real, and the students were able to practice their saber-toothed tiger scaring with fire like they hadn't been able to in ages. But in the end, this was just a better way to teach useless information. In describing these progressives, the character Pettewell says there are many types of progressives. Progressive with new purposes and old machines, progressives with new machines and old purposes, progressives with old machines and purposes, plus a few new verbalizations to make them less forlorn, and others. We cannot be teachers who are simply doing a better job of teaching nothing to our students. How many times have you heard the phrase, "When am I ever going to use this?" Or, "What does this have to do with me?" If teachers were paid $1 for every time they heard this phrase, or some variant, we might not be collectively underpaid. However, I fear, as we have heard it so many times, we tend to be dismissive of it. Perhaps we ignore it, or perhaps we explain one or two situations in which we might actually use the skill. Either way, we don't pay it much mind. It's the immature workings of an immature mind that just doesn't understand what we're doing in the grand scheme of things. So, I phrase it to you a different way. As a teacher, what are you preparing your students to do? Can you with confidence say that your students you are teaching now will be able to take the skills you have given them and use them successfully in the workplace? Or is it not applicable because you are just giving them an education? Are you preparing them for college? Is college going to give them those real-world skills? Or will many of our students, like Princeton and Avenue Q, lament, "What do you do with a BA in English? What is my life going to be? 4 years of college and plenty of knowledge have earned me this useless degree. I can't pay the skills yet. I can't pay the bills yet because I have no skills yet. The world is a big, scary place. When will I ever use this?" should become a phrase that tells us we aren't really helping our students. Ironically, this book that offers us insight into many of the flaws in our current curriculum also, as with many great works, shows us a way out, a solution. This solution is located near the beginning of the book when the first brave pioneer of education, known as Newfist, decides to create an educational system. "If I could only get these children to do things that will give more and better food, shelter, clothing, and security," thought Newfist, "I would be helping this tribe to have a better life. When the children became grown, they would have more meat to eat, more skins to keep them warm, better caves in which to sleep, and less danger from the striped death with the curving teeth that walk these trails at night." He set a goal. He set the goal to make sure they have better food, better shelter, more clothing, more security. After he had set his goal, he decided to figure out what he needed to do to help them achieve that goal. We have to catch fish with our bare hands in the pool right at the bend. We have to catch them in the same way in the pool just this side of the bend. And so we catch them in the next pool and the next and the next. Always we catch them with our bare hands. Thus, Newfist discovered the first subject of the first curriculum. Fish, grabbing with the bare hands. Also, we club the little woolly horses. We club them along the bank of the creek where they come down to drink. We club them in the thickets where they lie down to sleep. We club them in the upland meadow where they graze. Wherever we find them, we club them. So woolly horse clubbing was seen as the second main subject in the curriculum. And finally, we drive away the saber-toothed tigers with fire. We drive them from the mouth of our caves with fire. We drive them from our trail with burning branches. We wave firebrands to drive them away from our drinking hole. Also, we have to drive them away, and always we have to drive them away, and always we drive them with fire. Thus was discovered the third subject, saber-toothed tiger scaring with fire. This is what led to the formation of the 3 original curricula, and the tribe flourished when this was the case. What is our purpose as educators? What is the purpose of your students attending school for 13 of the most formative years of their life? This is the first step we must go through to develop curriculum that is relevant for today. After we know what the goal of our education is, we have to ask ourselves, as a result of this education, what do you want your students to do? What skills are going to serve them once they have left your class and entered into the big, scary place that is the world outside? And once we know what we want them to do, what do they need to know in order to do it? And once we know that, then we know what it is we have to teach in our schools. Instead of teaching them just how to use decimals, let's teach them how to create a budget, or invest in stocks, or calculate the down payment of a house, or estimate how much you'll be paying every month on that house. Decide which credit card to pay off first. All of these are real-world skills that the students will be able to use once they leave the comforts of the classroom and are thrust into the, quote, real world. And when they can clearly see what they will use it for, they will, in turn, be much more engaged. No need to add any progressive flair to it. Relevance is progressive enough to capture the student's attention. Reform like this is difficult. It's met with resistance on many sides. Parents, administrations, colleges, businesses, even, and yes, sometimes students and teachers. However, the U.S. is primed for this kind of change. I want to share with you one set of the Google searches that I did while preparing for this presentation. Some people will resist, yes. But they can see that the current education system is not as up to snuff as it could be, and many are begging for a change. Be that change. Decide what skills you can teach your students and make the curriculum to fit those needs, not the other way around. Do that, and we can finally move our education out of the Paleolithic era.